we first came out with Livescope in 2018. About 6 years we've had Livescope, and we introduced Livescope Plus in 2022, and it just keeps getting better. I see now more and more fishermen are putting 2, 3, some 4 live scopes, one on every corner.
It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's
unbelievable. The money that a fisherman will spend
just to catch a stupid fish.
Catch a fish. That's right. And it's funny because I still hear, especially older people, in which I'm one of, but I don't believe that
young at heart.
They say it's not fair, but it still doesn't catch the fish. You still got to catch them. I have days out there where that live scope shows me just how bad a fisherman I am. And you can see them swimming around following your baits, and they're just not even.
Yeah.
One of the things that maybe I have a different perspective, as an electronics manufacturer, but like Garmin's pace of innovation is just mind blowing to me. I mean, what's new this year as far as product goes? I know, and I've seen a few things. What's kind of the latest and greatest?
We announced our new EchoMap Ultra 2s with higher definition displays, faster microprocessors, fantastic operating system, the new Garmin Avionics Plus cartographers building right from the factory. They're coming to GT56 transducer. I mean, they're just phenomenal products, and they're not overpriced.
Yeah.
In Miami, just this week, we introduced a new GPS map 1643. So it's a lower cost 16-inch unit. It's got a great screen. And there's like $1,200 in our GPS.
Wow. And that's something we could see on Great Lakes boat. I mean, that'd be a nice fit on a Great Lakes boat.
16-inch screen.
Yeah.
You're talking my language, man.
One thing I learned a long time ago, people don't buy smaller TVs.
No. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think it's been a challenge for boat manufacturers. Like, how do we build dashes to accommodate these screens? Because I mean, honestly, think about it. It wasn't that long ago a 9-inch screen was a big screen, and now it's like, I don't want that. I mean, I want, yeah.
I've had the opportunity to be in this business as a paper glass and flat. And I remember when we first came out with liquid crystals, the screens were this big.
Right.
And people were satisfied with that. Now a 16-inch screen is not big enough.
Right.
And it just goes on and on and on, and people are buying it. It's unreal to go to some of these tournaments and see how many screens are on one boat. I don't care if it's a walleye boat, trout and salmon boat, fast boat, crappie boats. I mean, there's just multiple screens all around the boat. That's good for us.
Yeah.
And the products really do work good. Fish coming in.
It's almost like ice fishing, where you've got, you're seeing your lure and you're seeing fish react to the lure, and you talk to the anglers that are using it, and just being able to judge a fish's reaction to speed changes or presentations, colors. Yeah. Pretty amazing.
A whole lot smarter fishermen when they can see the fish out there, and they're not like, you got to find a way to get them to bite.
Yeah.
Meat Man.
Meat Man had a good Christmas.
Real good Christmas. Added the PS30 and the Fishhawk X4 to the boat for Christmas.
Nice.
Thank you, Santa. Wish the season would get here soon.
It won't be long now.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So if you got a question for Mark, go ahead and drop it in. But you were talking about those LCD screens and how they're teeny tiny, and those things were gray and white,
You couldn't see them in the sun very well, but it's just progressive. It kept getting better and better and better and better. Now, I mean, what we have today is just unbelievable. It's super high definition displays, full color, sunlight viewable. You can see them with your polarized glasses on. I mean, the advances have just been incredible.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, though. I know Garmin and a lot of the other electronics manufacturers too. When you buy your unit, there's a lot of different color palettes to choose from. How does someone, if they are thinking about getting in there and playing around and really kind of refining what they do, what do you recommend as far as color palettes?
That is a personal preference. I mean, some of the color palettes that I like, other people don't. That's why there's so many different ones. Nobody buys the same color car. Not like in the old days when Ford said you can have any color you want.
As long as black, yep.
Now you can pick a multitude of colors. It's a personal preference.
Yeah. So no, like
there's no performance
like,
advantage.
hey, this is a good one if you're going to be out in the daytime. This is a good one if you're out in bright light or anything like that.
I personally like amber. I think I can see it better in all lighting situations. It's one I always go to.
Okay.
I've tried the other ones just for grins and giggles, but
We're just going to hook that right up to you.
There we go.
there is a multitude of color palettes, that's for sure.
Mark, we got somebody asking about lithium power. What batteries do you recommend for units?
again, I mean, that's a personal preference. I'm still using AGMs in my own personal boat. 100 amp hour AGMs. I got 2 in series that I run my electronics off of, my Livescope and my cranking batteries. I mean, lithiums are great batteries. I know they'll last a whole lot longer. You can go several days without having to recharge them, where the lead acid, you got to charge them every day. Lithium's now they're coming down in price too. I mean, look at them when you get the next one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common where you know, as our AGMs or our regular lead acid batteries age out, I think there's going to be a whole lot of folks that are looking to upgrade to lithium for the next go around. Yeah.
Lithium is definitely a plus for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing I would like to say too, some fishermen I talk to claim that they have higher voltage going to the Livescope and you can get a better picture. That is totally false. There's a voltage regulator inside the black box, and it's not
So it's not going to let you put more voltage into it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I hear guys say, "I'm sorry, that's not true." Oh yes, it's no. It's not.
Yeah.
Is this going to make sure you don't overpower and burn it up?
Tell me about, you know, in our neck of the woods, when we think of Garmin Livescope in Minnesota, we think of ice fishing. And then I know a lot of guys are using it to drop shot walleyes. A lot of guys are using it for muskies. But this is a trolling room. This room's full of guys who are doing trolling. Talk about how you can use it in a trolling application.
Well, that's why I say the PS30, the original Panoptix, is the way you want to go for trolling. It really is. It's still the best way to go.
How does it work? Can you just kind of...
It's square like this, and you can steer it electronically back behind the boat, so you can see those riggers, downrigger balls, and you see the fish coming around.
How shallow would you be able to use in that application with a PS30? Like how if you're fishing, let's say you're fishing spring brown trout, what's your picture going to look like at that point? That's going to get tougher just because of the limited water column. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
And they start moving out deeper. That's when it really shines for fuel.
Yeah. And when we're running that beam let's say we're out trolling in 200 feet, how much adjustment do I got to make to that, moving that around to get it?
Depends on how deep the fish are that day. Just keep adjusting until you start seeing them. See them on your graph on your traditional sonar, and you can see what depth the fish are holding.
Gotcha.
It's really slick technology.
Yeah.
What's next?
Right.
Yeah. What is next?
They don't tell us.
It's probably a good reason.
About what we have now, not what we have coming tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. You know, salesman, we can't keep our mouth shut.
Well, so. And for those watching, you know, that don't know Mark or don't know who Mark is, I mean, Mark is literally, you've been in years. Specifically in marine electronics before. I mean, we're talking pioneering units, and Mark was the guy that sold that to a whole lot of people. I mean, as far as, you've been in the game a long time.
It's been an incredible career for me. I mean, to be in an industry that you love, I don't work a day.
Yeah.
You know, people say, you want to go to those shows? I love coming to these shows and talking to fishermen. I learn a lot from some of the fishermen, too. So they got some ideas of sometimes, hey, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, you're kind of a role model for me because you do what you like. And if you do what you like, why would you change?
Yeah. It's like, you know, people about retirement say, now, still.
Why? Yeah. You're having fun.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on the road now for 21 days. I've done 4 shows in 4 weeks.
Okay, I don't want to do that many shows, but I'll stick around for a while. So, you know.
It's, you know, last week was Columbus, and it was phenomenal. It wasn't a trolling crowd there. It's more bass, walleye, muskie, and it's super busy. Fishermen, just unreal. Livescope is definitely the buzzword, and it's hard to believe it's been 6 years, and it's still like it just came out.
Yeah,
a lot of
interesting.
When electronics come out and it's real hot for a year or two and it kind of goes away, well, this keeps building. And now people go with multiple units, and it's like, man, and there's so many people that still don't have them, but they're going to get one.
Well, and I just personally, right? I mean, I don't have one yet on my boat, and like this is the year I'm like, okay, this needs to happen this year, right? I mean, I've been kind of on the sidelines, and now I'm like, yeah, this is going down. So. Yeah.
And our new Kraken trolling motors, and we came out with our first trolling motor, a sensory mount to force several years ago. And you know, this year we announced our Krakens, we got longer shaft pivot mounts. And one thing they did, they made it so you could put the Livescope cable through the shaft instead of having that big loop with a pivot mount where you have a chance of cutting it.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys have. This goes right up through the shaft, and it's phenomenal. It has the new dual channel GPS antenna, so the accuracy on anchor lock is amazing. Absolutely
Great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Who would ever thought you'd have trolling motors where you could have anchor lock, heading sensors, and I mean, it's just unreal how technology is advanced.
Yeah.
I don't know how I fished without anchor lock all those years.
Yeah, it is. It's game changer. I mean, yeah, yeah, the combination of technology is what's really exciting. Just being able to use all these different tools are at your disposal, and just how much it adds to a day on the water. Makes it worth the investment. I mean, it really does.
It really does. It
Yeah.
makes it a whole lot easier to fish. It just makes it more enjoyable. I know I can put a series of waypoints on the screen if I echo map alters and say follow it, and they'll follow those waypoints and go to a point and stay on a flat. I mean, it's just incredible technology.
It is.
Mark, let's talk a little bit. I was actually really interested when you started talking about doing the sales trips and going to all these shows and talking to people. What's kind of give us a story that stands out in your mind from a fisherman coming up and just talking to you, and what's something that you tell people about? I'm sure you have stories that you tell when you're out and about. Give us a story of someone coming up and having a chat with you at a show.
Well, I know husband and his wife came in the booth this morning here, and he doesn't have Livescope. Everything he's seen on TV and on YouTube, and wanted me to explain the whole system, and they're getting ready to buy one now. And you see that all the time. And going to so many shows, you think that everybody's already got one. There's a lot of people out there that don't, just waiting.
Yeah, I would say that there's a whole lot of people that don't. One thing I think, Chris, just in what we've been doing with the podcast, or what you've been doing with the podcast for the last few years, think about 4 years ago, people didn't know what a podcast was. And now we've got people of all ages, young and more mature. I didn't say old, I said more mature. Young and more mature that are like, yeah, that's really cool. I mean,
you can learn a lot.
You can learn a lot.
Real fast. That's for sure.
And you probably see it in your booth with people coming up to you, and they've been doing research for years before they even walk up to you. And it's something that we see with our product too, is that, when we get into those four figures, when we're talking about a purchase price, it's not somebody just wakes up in the morning and goes, hey, I'm going to go buy that.
Exactly.
Like, they're doing a lot of research. They're watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and the consumer is very different now.
And there's so many good videos out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Garmin's YouTube channel, we've got great videos on how to use products, how to install them, and they're done very professionally. I mean, it's great information at your fingertips. It's free.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. People come in the booth, they know what they're looking at. They've already seen it. Just want you to tell them that they need to buy it.
Right.
Great time to be an angler, really. I mean, the information, and that's what's cool about this show specifically, is like, people are here to share info, and people are here to learn, and that's why this one's so fun.
That's what's good about this one. There's so much knowledge to be learned here. And as you were saying, fisheries are really good. I mean, Lake Erie with walleye fishing, perch fishing is phenomenal. Lake Ontario with the trout salmon and the big walleyes out east. I mean, fishing is phenomenal. The Finger Lakes, they're excellent fishing. There's so many opportunities around here. It's unreal.
Yes.
All right, we got a question here from Jim Lemon. Wants to know Garmin is going to offer transducer poles for Livescope for mounting on boats.
We do not, but there is a lot of options out there. I mean, Cisco makes one, Praxtech makes one. There's so many. Cornfield Property Products makes one. If you Google it, you're going to see a lot of manufacturers pop up, and there's some really, really nice ones.
Yeah.
There's some motorized ones, which I use personally. If I can steer that Livescope where I want it to be, especially if I'm fishing a single piece of structure like a rock pile or a hump, I can just steer it right to it instead of having the control motor moving. It's just, I can steer it with a little foot pedal on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of options, but personally, we don't make them.
Yeah, so that's one of the things actually Trevor and I were talking about last night with all the competing products in the live sonar, and like, what are the differences and what makes one better than another. And one of the things that we talk about with Garmin is that there are just so many options, and it's one of those things that when you buy the unit, then you're also looking at poles, and you're looking at different, shuttles and things like that. You as a salesperson, is that something that you work with people on as far as what pole they need to get, and if they want to go with the shuttle, where to find those different
Just tell
options?
people where to go and look for them. It just depends on how they want to do it. And that's why there's so many varieties, because so many places
So many
don't know what to
boats,
put it,
yeah,
so many
right.
different styles of boats. Like say, mine's motorized and it still attaches to the trolling motor, but it's independent, so I can steer that Livescope transducer where I want it, and the trolling motor can still doing this. But there is a multitude of options on it.
Yeah.
You just have to decide how they want to mount it, where they want to put it on their boat, and go from there.
Right.
Can I share my Livescope story from last fall?
Please do.
So we were I live right off the Mississippi,
Mhm.
and we were muskie fishing last fall, and we tried to fly fish for them, and
Good luck.
yeah, oh, yeah, thank you. But anyways, my Livescope story is, so you lay the cast down and you're casting these big flies that are the size of a raccoon, and they look like a raccoon in the water. But it was amazing because as I'm stripping the fly in, the hair, the material puffs up.
Yeah.
You could see the material on the Livescope puff up. So you'd strip the fly and stop it, and you would actually watch the fly on. It was like,
Wow.
at that point I was like, yeah, I need one of these. So
I know last year my brother and I were fishing, and he doesn't have Livescope on his boat anyway. And I had him come out trying to say, I want you to watch this. Look at the jig out there. He saw the jig going down, sees this fish from off the bottom, comes up, looks at the jig, and then follows it back down and ate it. He says, I need one.
Right.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
yeah,
They're a lot of fun to fish with.
Oh,
yeah.
there is. No question. But it still won't catch it.
Yeah.
Still got to be a good fisher.
Right.
Well, the good news for the fish is we are not. Well, Mark, do you got anything else to talk to our audience about before we let you go here? We're getting close to bringing on Captain Richard Brown.
Just that our new Navionics Garmin Navionics charts that our new versions just came out now come with the relief shading included, which is a big advantage. We see relief shading on that screen.
Gives you that 3D look. Yeah.
Last year you had to download it. Now it comes standard built right in the car. And that's really
Cool.
Really.
Very good. He's Mark McQuown from Garmin. We appreciate you stopping by
Hey,
and
appreciate it,
chatting with
guys.
us. Thank you.
Good to see you, bud.